Welcome, Free Enterprise fans, to the first of our club season matches on the community race on Monday nights at 8 p.m. on the Free Enterprise channel. I am Fiery Blizzard. With me tonight is Zald on tracking, Arlenor on restream, and my lovely co-commentator, Joker Mage. How are you doing tonight, Joker?
I'm getting by. I could really use some something to eat, though. Do you have any recommendations?
My personal favorite would be some chicken katsu ramen to go along with this lovely noodle percent flag set that we have that we're going to be showcased by three wonderful runners of the game, Softnum, Scarcerer, and Cubs Rule 21. I can't wait to see what they do with this flag set. This is a flag set that I would personally enjoy racing myself. It looks to be quite a bit difficult. We are going to be using the beta branch. So all the lovely changes that were brought about in 4.6, you see that on the bottom right of or bottom left of their screen. We're going to talk about a little bit of the changes as we go through tonight's race. But you've taken a look at the flag set. What do you think is going to be or what's your favorite part about this flag set?
I love just how utterly variable this is going to be, because we do have 4 boss hunts and 4 location checks. So that could be a whole lot of digging around, going everywhere to try and find all these danger noodles. Or we could end up with some kind of really silly vanilla stuff where everyone's just hanging out at home and we're getting a bunch of 2-for-1s, enabling this to go by really quickly. So that's going to be interesting to see just what gets tossed where in this particular seed.
Yes, I agree. As you alluded to, as our racers do start off, we have 4 bosses that are all Snecks, Dark Elf, Leviathan, Pale Dam, and Ogopogo, the most dangerous of noodles. As we start off with our hero Edge, and we see our Tela partner, and we start off with a Coffin, and our 3 kits tonight, the basic kit, the freedom kit, and the Kata kit. So Tela Edge is sort of an interesting dichotomy of characters, right? You have Edge, which is very fast-paced, a very quick hero. This Tela, after a while, is not going to get really any turns whatsoever, despite whatever you do on Edge. But
Tela is a fairly good starter for just utility spells and getting around. You'll probably want to, as you said, cycle him out once you have some better options. Cecil and Fusoya are restricted under this flag set, so we're not going to find immediate Fu. So Tela will be able to put in some work, at the very least for a little while.
Yeah, and we do see Scarcer and Softnum on the top going to Watery Pass, probably a little bit gated from the... you have a Tela, you have an exit caster. Watery Pass has no trap chest, unlike where Cubs Rule is right now in Eblan Castle. Unlike the OMG flags that we were recently showcasing in our tournament, we do not have vanilla traps on, so we don't know where those 3 trap chests are. And so it will take a little bit longer for Cubs Rule to loot out this Eblan Castle.
I believe one of the changes in 4.6 is that the Eblan Castle isn't quite as rewarding as it used to be. It used to be a very solid place to go if you just wanted to get some early power, but I think some of the changes have sort of toned it down a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. T-Pro, you're not going to get the Holy Swords for Cecil from Eblan Castle on T-Pro anymore. So even the monsters in a box there are not going to yield, your power for Cecil, but may be more likely to give you power for the Edge that we're starting with, Masa, Miraz, stuff like that. So it will be interesting to see how that sort of all plays together in terms of sort of the Free Enterprise meta. Maybe we start seeing more T-Pro versus T-Wildish, where some of these not Cecil characters will start to be more and more powerful in the general flag set.
And you were interested in playing this flag set, so how would you have started this off?
With a Tela, Watery Pass is generally what I think of, just because Exit is such a nice spell. I'm not a fan of, personally, Eblan Castle with those monsters in the box sort of everywhere. You can think about doing also what Softnum is doing here, taking a peek at Hobbs real fast, see what your other character is as well. Edge generally gets you through most things. Unfortunately, Valvalis, without an appropriate weapon, you're not really going to have a great time there. But really, an Edge, yeah, I mean, you can easily just sort of go as fast as you can through the early game. Flame does a lot of work. And then once you get a little bit of power, you can start thinking about going into Eblin Castle and taking on those.
As far as that Valvalis fight, though, do you think you would eventually go back for that Rydia?
On Sea Hero, with an Edge in particular, that Rydia does become a bit slow. We don't have a warp glitch on. Tella already gives you the warp spell once you go up ordeals. At the same time, Bahamut orbs have turned into tier 6 items, so you're actually decently likely to pick one up. I believe you can also get one at Dwarf Castle as part of the upgrade, and if you can, having Rydia with Bahamut is absolutely great for the mid and even sort of later game. And that would encourage me to keep Rydia here. You have no need for an anchor because you don't have one. But we do see Scarsor getting through the Antline Cave.
Yeah, that was a evil wall that just came crumbling down rather quickly, and that's a Baron key. That is going to be very useful because one of our objectives, the randomized objective for this flag set, is Liberate Baron Castle.
Yeah, so that is one objective on the board that we can complete. Maybe more. For our key item settings tonight, we have K main, summon, moon, and K no free. So we don't have any item at Bedward, but we do have a Demist hunt as well to go along with our 4 boss hunts that we have as objectives.
There are 2 boss fights just to get through the Liberate Baron Castle, so one of those could be one of the objective bosses. Additionally, once you're done with that, you can go check what's going on in the basement, and there could be an objective boss there as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how our racers approach the, say, Baron basement with an Edge hero and 2 party members that are definitely on the slower side. So far, it's going to be very interesting if and when they make that play.
I will confess that I totally either missed or forgot who the bagging spot is at Baron, but we would have seen that when they were getting the items.
Yeah, I have also since forgotten, is what happens when you're on the commentator. So all saying it was Dark Elf at Bagging spot, which would be a double. That would mean Baron is absolutely required because that is holding 2 of our objectives, and we have to complete 7 of the 8 that we have tonight. We do see Scarsword going, said no to the Rydia is going up Fabul. Cub's Rule is finally actually took that Valvalis, and I believe got an Assure Orb from the back of Hobbs. A pretty common play with an Exit Caster is going to get that Baron key from Antline Cave. We see a Gauntlet here at Fabul. So, sort of vanilla-ish.
It's that kind of imitation vanilla.
Yeah, it's a little bit nicer than vanilla, I think, so if it were vanilla Gauntlet, you'd have 6 fights rather than 5. So this will be a little bit faster.
In the meantime, Cubs Rule also gets through the evil wall. We'll get that nice Baron key from this. And I think that puts all of our racers with the access to Baron Castle now.
Yep, and we do see Sofnum getting or buying Thunderclaws. Thunderclaws will be very nice against, say, Leviathan, or if we see an Odin. 2 Thunderclaws don't really make a difference because they actually hold no attack power whatsoever, but they just give you the elemental. So 2 is a little bit excessive, not entirely necessary. You'd want a weapon with an attack power to go along with that Thunderclaw, though.
I believe we saw the Baron Guards fight at the waterfall just now.
Yep, and we do have our underground access. I don't believe in the flag set that it was clarified whether or not we'd have to go through the hook route or the magma key. We did get our magma key, so now we have the underground available to us.
Wow.
And see.
Well, We found one of our objective bosses at Mist Cave.
Yeah, I'm curious if this Boreas is going to do much because okay, it did more than enough, I guess. That Mist Cave does have quite a bit of magic defense. But with that, Cubs Rule is our first racer to have an objective on the board.
And it's also going to be an interesting question of how soon the other racers go and actually check Mist Cave, because it sometimes gets skipped if you're like sort of following chains.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm the type of person who will wait to do Mist Cave around the time that I'm going to the moon if I remember at all. So it's certainly a very spicy place for an objective boss to show up. So no Vanilla Leviathan tonight. Of course, we also know we don't have Vanilla Dark Elf because that's sitting at the Bygin spot. But we still have the chance to have a Vanilla Ogopogo at the Masa Moon or a Vanilla Paildim at the Mura Altar.
As far as Nomo goes, we do know where 3 out of the 7 required and 8 total are now at then.
Yep, and we have Magma Key, so we have access to that objective as well. Of course, that being said, knowing that we have access to the King spot of the Fey March doesn't mean we can take whatever is there, and unless it's a couple bosses right now, it'd be a hard sell, and there's one of our bosses that we'd like to see elsewhere at the King Queen Evelyn at Baron in 1. A quick flame is going to take those out. But unfortunately, we also do see an Edward at Baron in fast. But it's an Edward, so you're kind of hoping you get a spoon. Make him somewhat useful.
Yeah, I mean, the spoon could be here at Baron Inn. Like, he could have just been using the spoon at the cafe while talking with Edge's parents.
Yeah, that's true. And, probably include some chopsticks and have some ramen, right?
Well, we're saving the noodles for later. But there's going to be plenty of noodles. Those are not noodles, however.
Nope, and you certainly don't want them to combine into a bigger body, because then it would steal more of our noodles. You have a guy drum.
Yeah, that flame was just not powerful enough to do the entire job, but
yeah, this is we'll see if another shuriken dart will get through this. Not quite. Don't want to see a glance here. Luckily, the spot is very slow, and Edge is a very fast character. So was able to get multiple turns off before we saw the rest of that script. And what is our reward with this, Edward? A Darkness Crystal.
So we got access to everywhere pretty much now.
Yeah, I was saying that this flag set, could be on the more difficult side, but, it gave us access to our objective with the Baron Key, the Underground, and the Moon. So the world and the Moon is your oyster at this point. Joker, if you're playing the Seed, you have the Magma Key, you have the Baron Key, and you have the Darkness Crystal. It is S standard, so our shops are standard. Where would you be going now?
Probably Underground, because for the better shops, right? That's what I feel.
Yeah, you have more chances to find things underground. It is worth noting we could also find sirens as well in shops. If we couldn't, we also have an Edge, and an Edge can easily steal sirens. But not probably something you're not looking to grind right now. Our party doesn't really know what to do with the levels, right? Between an Edge, a Tella, a Iridia, and an Edward.
Yeah, you kind of get into a bit of analysis paralysis when you have this much open all of a sudden before you're ready for it.
Yep, and we do see Cubs taking the chain fully through, is going to go into Baron and be the first to take on that Dark Elf.
Yeah,
of course,
it just makes sense. It's the classic, do your objectives, and we know there's objectives here. Go do them.
Yeah, it's interesting. you have Attila and Iridia. Thankfully, I believe the C hero makes the D machine play very much off the table with an edge hero. Attila using weak on a D machine can go wrong very, very, very quickly. I don't think we see that from any of our racers tonight, thankfully, because we do not need to start our community race season with the D machine grind.
But we might also hope to find Fusoya at some point. I mean, while he's restricted, you just have to get through some of those gated checks to find those characters, and it's possible that we can just, toss Tella soon.
Yeah, and the check that Cubs Rule is doing right now is a gated character check, same with what Scarcer is doing on the moon. Fill out your party, see what you have. We don't have any restrictions on the characters, or basically everyone is going to appear in the seed. So there is going to be a Cecil somewhere, there's going to be a Fusoya somewhere, there's going to be one dupe, or actually, because Edge is a hero, we're not going to see another Edge in the seed, so that takes care of that slot. But we do see, again, this Dark Elf. We get the Meat Chain. After Dark Elf goes into his more noodly form, you can stop the Dark Elf, which does unfortunately require the stop spell. But Tella should have it natively, so...
Do we have J items in this flight set?
We do. We saw a Gaia Drum usage from Scarcer.
Because I was wondering if there's hourglasses we could throw at this guy as well.
Yeah, if we saw them in a shop, we'd be able to use it. Tella could use stop at any moment as well. But we do see Cubs Rule is getting through, and that Dark Elf gets to put another objective on the board, and we do see our first gated shop, and we do see those hourglasses perfectly timed from the Naming Way shop. The Hummingway shop. Softnum is following Scarcer onto the moon. Scarcer is also going to give us our first peek into the Lunar Deus character. Meanwhile, Cubs Rule is going to set up a little bit for the Baron Enthroned, which can actually be quite scary at the levels that we're doing it with.
Do you think Scarcer is going to push into LST at this point?
If he's feeling... by the way, there's a Lunar Sparkle, so that could be our Ogopogo or Pale Dam. And there it is. So Baron is definitely hard required. You were talking about this before.
I might be a sorcerer. I don't know. Mage is in the name, so maybe I'm a sorcerer.
So, to your point, it's interesting, right? Because Pelham... at this point, I believe, would be Slingshot, maybe? I don't actually know what level that Edward is, so maybe not perfectly Slingshot. But you could think about taking the hair dries. You have those hourglasses. It would take a while, but you have life pots, you have hourglasses. You can get, 50,000 experience just from that one trap chest.
However, at this point, we do know that you want to be headed towards Baron and Mist Cave to get the majority of the work done.
Yeah, it would be a little bit more interesting if this was a win game, right? And then you wouldn't have to worry about how am I beating Zeromus, especially with an edge anchor, which is, again, slightly unfortunate for these Zeromus killing plans with this party. Luckily, I did find silk webs, but...
fast anchoring Zeromus can be fun if you have the right people with you, but I don't necessarily think these are the right people.
No, and Sid, as much as we love Sid, this is not the OMG flag set. His speed is somehow actually worse than all the other characters in our party, Bartella. So again, it's just characters that ultimately not going to really keep up with Edge through the seed in terms of action economy. Those soak webs may become quite a bit more important through the seed that we saw in one of the shops.
I mean, realistically, I think they'd want to try to find Cecil and Kane, right? Because those are going to be on the faster side. So maybe not necessarily keeping up with Edge, but at least not falling too far behind.
No, yeah, you're not gonna say no to a Cecil. You're probably not gonna say no to a King either. Maybe you hunt around for an Avenger a little bit. An Avenger fixes quite a few problems. We do see Scarcer going up Ordeal is going to get that tele online. We see Cubs Rule got an Adamant Rock, so one half of the Forge, which is going to be an Edge super weapon courtesy of Sea Hero. And going to peek this Baron basement. Are we going to do a quadruple Baron? Are we going to see another Sparkle? No, that is an Octomom, and technically, that's a boss we could actually beat right now if we chose. Once you get a couple of the arms down, the agility tanks, and Edge being fast is no longer really a problem.
Yeah, and Case Summon is on, so there is the possibility that there is a useful key item there too.
Correct, there is. What's interesting to note in Cubs Rule's mind, he's found 3 of our bosses, Leviathan, Pale Dim, and Dark Elf. So, in terms of boss hunting, the only thing he hasn't seen is Ogopogo. He has access to the King of Fate March. He has access to the Masamune altar, and obviously he's done Liberate Baron Castle.
I don't think he's done Fabul yet. So, because at the very least, Magma Key's not lit up. But I'm not sure if that's accurate. Then he hasn't found his underground access yet.
Okay, yeah, that is true. But he knows it has to be in the overworld in these flags. So for him, right now, he knows it's either at Fabul or Ordeals, which has these lovely orbs. Right, because we don't have Kaon safe on, so we have an idea. Well, there are only a couple locations that can actually hold our access underground, and it's not going to be on the moon.
Now, assuming he does find the Magma Key at Fabul, that gives him access to all the locations he needs to complete get the crystal. But do you think anyone's going to try to, be like the man of the people and try and actually find Twin Harp so we can hear some music?
Well, we don't have Ogopogo, so we need either Ogopogo's location or the harp. And of course, if Arlenor is a man of the people, then we will see Ogopogo at the Twin Harp, behind some ludicrous chain that none of us wants to really see.
Everything is at sealed cave, right?
Yes, we do not have the warp glitch, so despite having a bunch of warp casters, don't really do much in terms of making Dwarf a 2-to-1 check. It'll be interesting to see if anyone does do Dwarf, just trying to get a better character. But it will also be interesting if Ogopogo, is just sitting at home at the Masa altar. Yeah,
I guess I'm like, what character locations do we have left? I mean, there's Giant, but who wants to do Giant in this situation? There's Dwarf Castle. What else am I forgetting?
I mean, we don't have the package or the Sand Ruby or the Earth Crystal, but those are all also character locations as well. Or the Hook.
Right, so there's plenty out there. We just don't have the keys to get to them.
Correct. Yep. We do see Scarcer is going to go into Eblin, take on these monsters with some levels, and we also have Hourglasses. Honestly, yeah, no, this is I really like this play. I don't think anyone's really in slingshot range. So if you're new to Free Enterprise, first off, welcome. Do make sure to check out our Discord. We are currently in club season. So this is the perfect time to jump into Free Enterprise if you are at all interested. Certainly the Pink Puff League, when we're going to showcase on Thursdays, would be a wonderful starting point to starting to learn this randomizer. But we don't. So for a slingshot, we need basically 2 characters 5 levels or lower than our average, and I don't think Scarcer has that. Unfortunately, Cubs Rule, while seeing a sparkle that would signify Ogopogo possibilities, that is just D-Lunars.
We do also have Sofnum doing the thing, or you do your objectives.
And to finish that thought, The reason why you'd want a slingshot is because anyone who is in, quote, slingshot range would get double the EXP compared to everyone else. So if you're able to slingshot a couple of characters, your efficiency goes quite a bit up.
Yeah, so Cubs basically just went to Moon to check the character. I'm not sure if he even saw the shop, but he just checked the character, checked what was at Cave Bahamut, and came back.
Yep. D-looters there. Punches really, really hard. Viruses will tickle, but the punches will be a problem. Technically, I know there are people who would definitely take on those D-looters if they had a quicker way to kill them. You could do reflex strats and wait out their breath attack, and then have the fight for free. It would still take a very long time to do that. I do see Cubs Rule is going to go up the mountain, see if he fares any better than our other two racers in getting through the orbs and the rest of the mountain. We don't know what other tricks are going to be up here.
We did see that orbs was the first fight on Mount Ordeals.
Yes.
But nothing after that, so there's still the potential for Ogo being up here.
That is correct. At which point we'd be very, figure that our researcher Eleanor would definitely have somewhere to be tonight. We do see a little bit of trouble going here on the Staleman Skull chest, which is one of the scarier chests in the game. Maybe
if you
double
Staleman. If you can't get the skeletons down relatively quickly, then they all sorts of just gives them a bunch of time to get extra attacks on you. The Stallman is definitely annoying on his own, but if you're also being hit by a bunch of skeletons, it's not much fun.
No, in the case where we have an edge hero, there are a lot of characters in our party that are liable to be put to sleep from the stalemate hitting them. Thankfully, we do have those hourglasses, and unfortunately, we do see a wipe from Sovnum on the Dark Elf fight.
And that's not the wipe that you get when you're in the Cave Magnus that's scripted. This is an actual unfortunate loss.
Yep. Dark Elves doesn't have the boss bit because we do not have Be No Free on, so you are able to stop the Dark Elf either by an hourglass or by the stop spell, but if you don't, he will alternate between attacking physically and doing Dragon Breath, which does 1/4 of your maximum damage. Or 1/5, one of the two. See J-Brun in chat wanting to steal some hammers from the Stalemen. One day we will see a sneak glitch and it will be acknowledged on stream. I see you, J-Brun. We do see Cubs Rule is taking out the back orb and is cleaning up the attacker orb and does get through it.
That was a pretty costly fight, though, with 3 of the team taking dirt naps.
Yeah, they'll get XP later. It's a bit interesting to me. So T-Pro, Eblin Castle, monsters doesn't. It's less appeal. It's a little bit less appealing. At the same time, it depends on how much you value. I don't remember the current item distributions here, but it would also be interesting to see if there are sirens underground for sale or something like that, where you could basically do a more efficient grind, and then possibly if you're looking for items, come back up here.
I mean, I think we're glad that this is Beano free right now, because this is not an enemy you want to fight when it's not a free fight.
Yeah, no, I mean, you saw Darkblade didn't really do too much damage, so with an edge hero would have absolutely been fine doing the amount of damage that you need on DKC, and certainly Sid has HP to spare as well.
Oh yeah, this is a Frenchman DKC. They let him out of the changing room, and he just decided to do back attack instead.
There are much worse fights we can find at back attack. Luckily, we've already seen the gauntlet.
I remember a community seed from last community season where we had a back attack wyvern that made the seed much harder for everyone. I
Yeah,
think it was a Spaghetti Club one.
I mean, so we're seeing the Sea Hero flag also at work here. Edge is going to take on whoever is at this changing room by himself, as Cecil would in the vanilla game. And there's an Ogre Axe for a Sid if one Scarsor gets it. And a Sork Robe just from the changing room. Is it an Ogopogo? No, we know this is a Water Hag. Cubs Rule doesn't know that this is a Water Hag because the Alt Gauntlet is at Fabul.
Well, he knows now and is not going to be worried at all.
No, and even if it would be a bit awkward to have a Alt Gauntlet here at the changing room because a couple of the enemies would absorb flame. But Water Hag hit it 3 times and it will go away, which is about correct damage-wise too. So no real time loss on that. We do see Sofnum as our first person underground, looted a little bit on the way to Feymarch. Will give us our first peek at the freebie item. If it's Harp, we're effectively in go mode or no mode in the booth. It was just a Soma drop. You can give Tella MP and have him cast Meteor once you have him recall the spells. If you really wanted to go that route.
Well, Cubs Rule has already gone that route because that's already done with Water Hag, and so Tella will have full spell list, and that Soma drop will actually be helpful for Cubs.
So we have a little bit of vanilla with the Assure at Queen spot, and we have something interesting on that King spot, Karate, who is going to hit very, 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 very hard, and will have 35,000 HP to back himself up. We do know that there is a Cecil somewhere in the seed, and it would be very interesting to say, you know what, I don't think the King spot with that Karate there is going to be in the cards just yet. I don't particularly get through that.
And again, Cubs so far the only one who's gotten through ordeals, so would be the only one for the Paladin Cecil that you need to be able to cheese that Karate fight.
Yes, I suspect that if we do see a Cecil, say, at Dwarf Castle, I feel like the first place that both of our other racers would be to go back to ordeals and make sure that Cecil is a paladin, because I know exactly who is sitting at the king spot at that point.
Yeah, between the Karate and the Soma drop, this is a very ordeals friendly Feymarch.
Yep, but that is all hypotheticals. We don't know if there's going to be a Cecil somewhere easy. We do see Cubs Rule going to the Giant.
Scouting out the first Giant fight? Is that what we suspect, or?
I have to imagine that. I mean, maybe thinking I'm going to be a little bit cheeky and check the last arm chest. I don't believe he tried to set up any D machine.
Is there anything that would be very beneficial coming out of the last arm chest under this version of the randomizer?
Could always get a Bahamut Orb. Actually, you might be able to get a Bahamut Orb from the open chest too. Bahamut Orb in 4.6 got downgraded from a tier 7 to a tier 6, so you're more likely to see it from an open chest. Bahamut Orb would be very nice. I would say a Masa would be as well. He's
not going to D machine, is he?
No, I don't think he's set up for a D machine, or
he's not checking any of the chests.
Oh, maybe he did set up for a D machine. Or he's doing the. Okay, so he's doing. I'm so used to the Baron manipulation rather than the Giant manipulation. That is something you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, that's awful. We're not going to see the back half of Giant at all.
Well, we did get an Earth Hammer from the Job Dwarf. That is a book editor and a Cursed Ring, which is a wonderful find. Unfortunately, with an Edge Anchor, that Cursed Ring only does a little bit. We see some jokes from Cubs here. Having Attila is opting to set up the D machine grind, is using a different chart here. It will be very interesting to see how this goes. A D machine under not ideal agility situations can go wrong very quickly. So we'll see how Cubs Rule handles it.
I do know that when I don't have proper agility for D machines, I usually try to take it a bit slower. Obviously, that adds a lot of time, but it is safer than trying to just force it and then find out, oh yeah, that turns got screwed up. You normally just assume that the turns are going to be screwed up and take the extra time to make sure you're not, doing the wrong maneuver.
Yeah, this may be a little bit done because we do have Ashura on Rydia. Meanwhile, we did actually see sirens for sale underground, and it looks like both our racers are going to take advantage of that in these beautiful eggs that will give 34,000 EXP each.
Yeah, I feel like just this scenario, like to set up the hero, like everything about this, the eggs make much more sense than doing a D machine. I think it's just for the memes that we're seeing this.
Yep. We do see a Sparkle on Softenham's side in Dwarf Castle. We haven't seen Plague, we haven't seen Wyvern, and we haven't seen Ogo Pogo.
We do have the correct fight for D machine now, though.
And there it is. There is our last Nope Noodle, the Nope Noodle, Ogo Pogo at Dwarf 1. We, in the booth, know where the 7 objectives that are needed are. The only thing we don't know is where that harp is. But that means with the knowledge of the Baron Key, and of course Softenham does know that the Baron Key holds the Dark Elf, so it's probably going to head there sooner rather than later. Looks like after possibly taking another trip up Ordeals.
Yeah, Softenham wiped at that Dark Elf and was probably trying to just find some extra power to feel more confident and get through it safer.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a rush, right? You're going to go through Baron because that's your objective, and the Dark Elf is there. The thing is, neither Softenham nor Scarsor know the Leviathans at Miss Cave, I believe.
That's kind of like the wild card for this particular race is that, Cubs found that really early, got taken care of, and it's going to be simply a question of when do they remember to check Mistcave.
What I really enjoy about this seed is we have managed to roll a seed in which the nearly minimum number of key items are required. We have the Baron Key for our objective, we have the Darkness Crystal for an objective, we have the Magnet Key for an objective, and the only extra key item that we actually need is the Adamant Rock because that's through our objective and whatever we get from Dwarf. It is very minimalist in the number of key items that we truly need to beat the seed.
I will note that I believe it's also the pass is a key item, and we haven't found that yet. So anyone who gets through all the requirements is still going to have to walk LST at this point.
That is true, but your last objective is probably going to be the Masamune altar. So the pass doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
From the Masamune altar, it's faster just to walk down to Zeromus than it would be to walk back out and exit. But we are seeing Cubs starting up the D machine grind. We're gonna hit this alert. Hopefully,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was saying that we're gonna hit this alert. Tella's gonna cast Weak. Another character is gonna hit the D machine, and then life glitch it by throwing a life pot before the D machine goes away, and then we're gonna repeat this over and over again to get all of our experience.
Okay. And I was just going to make a joke about the pass being at the Masa altar.
That would be funny. To answer a question in chat, I do not know if Jbrun ever found ethers or bought any doesn't look like that. There's one Ether 1 in his inventory. Is using a Silk Web on the D Machine to make this a little bit more bearable, because that slow status will persist for each D Machine. So this D Machine will be a little bit more friendly, but you still have to be a little bit careful about how you do this. Is using the Lilith Rod also to restore MP on Tella. We do see Scarsor getting through that Water Hag, getting that Sorcerer Robe. Softnum got through that CPU just fine this time, and is now going to get through his DKC, and then also go through his Changing Room. And we'll see what erasers do from there.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly how you were saying earlier. When your agility setup isn't very good for D machines, there's a lot of just craziness going on, and you can see that on Cub screen. It's just this is not how the ideal D machine grind goes.
No, it's not. But the important thing here is you just need to survive. D Machine has a pretty, the script is known. He's going to flame, and if you attack him and don't kill him, he's going to attack you for a lot of damage. Something that can save you in this instance, if things go really, really awry, you can use a hourglass and stop. Which has definitely saved me on a D Machine before. But yeah, it's difficult when you don't know exactly when Tella's turn is going to start, because ideally you hit the alert, the D Machine comes out, and your cursor is already on weak, waiting for that D Machine to finally appear.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun during a D Machine grind when you have to go into defense mode with the first three characters, because Tella's turn doesn't happen for quite a bit.
Yeah, luckily all the other characters are sort of just as slow. So it's unlikely that anyone really jumps to Q other than Edge. And that's actually being very, very useful in this instance. Unfortunately, it looks like we are out of MP on Tella. And so this is, again, where it gets pretty scary. Very quickly, gonna have to make sure that your Tella stays alive to cast Weak.
We do have Scarsor going to take on the Dark Elf now.
Yep, I imagine no problems from this. I assume Softnum is also going to head right into Baron as well. And realize, Softnum in particular is going to realize I am a single boss away from go mode. Going through Baron. And we'll see how long it takes Softnum to check Miss Cave, or maybe he ends up getting the harp.
Yeah, there's different pieces that the different runners know, so it's going to just be a matter of when one of them sort of puts together the pieces they don't know, which sounds really strange to say, but that's kind of how it works. You say, all right, what haven't I checked, and what would be the silliest thing to check, and then you go do it, and it's obviously there. And Scarsor cast Weak on that Dark Elf in Dragon form, and that's another thing you can do to it.
Yep. Without the boss bit, Weak, stop. Is certainly your friend. Unfortunately, you can't toad it, but it'd be interesting to toad. And we do actually see on Cub's Rule side, it's gotten stable at this point, right? As long as you survive the moments of instability, again, it's just the key point here is keep your characters alive.
And about how many of the D machines do you think Cubs will want to get rid of?
I do not know. I suspect this is going to be as many as he can get through. That Rydia is not going to be certainly not in slingshot range. That Palom, in order to get Nuke, is going to need 6 D machines. I imagine we're going to see at least 6. I imagine we may have already seen 6.
Scarsor is already through the king spot, so he's already got the Pilgrim done.
Yep, and has not seen the Ogopogo at Dwarf, so in his mind needs 2 more bosses.
Yeah, so Softnum and Cubsroll both have additional knowledge, different additional knowledge that Scarcer does not yet have. And that, so even though Scarcer is like, getting stuff done, there's that slight disadvantage of just not knowing that, where the answers are.
Yeah, and it will be interesting. So Cubsroll is taking a D machine. I don't know if he plans to go to Dwarf really early. I mean, at some point he's going to, because there's a quick boss check, but there's a possibility he decides the moon feels like a good play. Go to the Masa altar. And then maybe sneakily go down the hook route and see if you can get Ogopogo down there. It's really a question. At this point, he has all the power that he'll need for the seed with that D machine grind successfully completed. Palom certainly has learned Nuke. I don't know if we've gotten to the... Rydia's got 37 levels. That may get her to level 50 for Nuke.
Now, another potential downside with having Edge Hero that's going to be potentially relevant, since we already have Adamant Rock, and if we find Legend Sword, obviously that forge goes and becomes an Edge weapon. Edge has one of the not best weapons.
He doesn't have anything that's terrible, but nothing that is truly game-breaking, but at the same time, it is better than what we have now by a fair amount.
I was thinking of his throne item.
Scrap is a wonderful weapon. I don't know what you're talking about. Scrap metal has, ridiculous attack power of 1, but has a full 99% accuracy.
Soft
is...
Yeah.
Go ahead. Softnum is getting that news of the Pale Dim at the Baron Throne. Scarcer is going to see the octopus at the Baron Basement. Wonder if he decides to take it or if he's just going to leave. And even with all those levels, Cubsroll is saying, I do not want to deal with a turtle.
Yeah. Now, after seeing that, 3-for-1 at Baron, does that make you start thinking, oh, I might be behind, actually, and so you might be not willing to take certain fights?
I think for both Softnum and Scarcer, the fact that they had to leave ordeals is automatically going to put you in that mindset.
And Softnum, this is Softnum's second attempt at Baron Liberation as well.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, my guess is that both Scarcer and Softnum feel behind. Cubs does know that our underground access is fruitful. This is the only place he has left. Other than, say, a D-Mist at Zot 1, which could have held our underground access all along. But I don't know if Cubsroll will feel behind as well. My guess is he probably doesn't. Got through a D machine with no casualties, so probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it just has to get through this imitation vanilla gauntlet to be able to get underground access at this point. And then it's just a matter of question of how soon is Cubs going to check the Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, again, with that Dwarf Castle play, Scarcer and Softnum, I believe, are probably doing it for a character check. In Cub's case, once you do a D-Machine grind, I guess you could also say, well, now I'm just going to get rid of my Tella. Tella, unfortunately, is sort of our ability to use the exit. So, you like having the exit spell, especially if you don't know that you have to leave the moon or not. So it'll be interesting to see what Cubs does once he gets this magma key. We see Scarcer going to buy sirens, I imagine. See if he takes a peek at the dwarf boss. The advantage for Cubs, though, is he has all the levels he needs. He's going to take this magma key. He's going to be able to take that karate on the first go without really any, well, as long as he has the healing, which may be a little bit difficult, but should be able to get through that karate.
And at this point, all three are through ordeals, so if anyone finds Cecil, they'll have the paladin.
Yeah. Probably much more significant for Softum and Scarcer. But we're going to see, more than likely in the next couple of minutes, exactly who is waiting for us at Dwarf Castle, who that character is, and who is the second boss. And, of course, a question of, is there a harp here? I hope so.
And Cub's rule is also at least unlocking the door, but we're expecting Cubs will also go underground and start doing those checks at this point.
Yeah, my guess is Fey March first, because that could be our harp at freebie. And then, again, we have the levels. We have 2 new casters. Gonna get through that king spot. There's a question, if that's not a harp at the karate at king, is he just gonna clear out the Ashura right next door?
Yeah, and if he finds the twin harp, then I imagine that Dwarf Castle's not even going to appear on his radar at that point.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting question. Because we're not going through the hook route, so we don't get a peek at who's at the top of tower. Now, of course, again, if, say, the king spot has the harp, then it doesn't matter.
Cubs. It looks like Cubs is going and get the answer right away.
All right, well, good for Cubs. That is actually excellent for Cubs. Is going to, well, gonna check the shops first, but with that save outside, I assume he is at least going to check what the boss is. So the other thing also, we haven't talked about one of the other changes of 4.6. Ninja swords remain in the tier that they were, but also dropped in price. So ninja swords were 66,000. Now they are, I believe, 44,000 per sword. And we can definitely find ninja swords underground in one of the shops. So I assume Cubs is going to be looking pretty hard for ninja swords. Didn't actually even peek the boss at Dwarf. Found the full moon that is going to get him, or now he's going to do it. Okay.
So that was probably just like a safety save to make sure nothing untoward happens.
Probably wanted to save the full moon.
Right, and Scarcer is getting a second trying logo again. That's just another Rydia. That's our duplicate for the seat, I believe.
We might have one more because Edge is a hero, so we can't have an Edge in another spot. But we are going to see Cubs rule with this Ogopogo being found. He's going to be in go mode. He will know that he's in go mode.
You know, the Golbez spot is just Mylon and friends.
One Quake will solve most of your issues. Or a flame into a virus. Probably into something else. If you want to talk about rude combinations at Dwarf Castle, the classic is DKC into Ogopogo. We got the Ogopogo part in the wrong spot, and obviously we saw DKC a back attack. But that is not what you want. What you would want to see here.
Cubs is already through that Ogo, so sees the duplicate Rydia because about to fight Mylon Z, and then we'll be caught up as far as that goes, and actually ahead on the overall thanks to Leviathan.
Yep. And as someone commented in chat, or a couple of people commented in chat, we did get some microwave noodles. I personally would prefer not to microwave my noodles. But, sometimes you have no choice. We've all been there. I don't know. What's your feeling on microwave noodles?
I think microwaves are underrated as far as cooking things because, if it heats it up, then you just have to know how to heat it up correctly, and then it's perfectly fine. I think a lot of the problems with microwave are people just don't know how to use them correctly.
Yep. We did get a pan from the dwarves, so that is not our harp. But it could be something that turns into a harp. That is 2 checks for us, because K Summon is on. We both have the Yang Bonk and Sheila 2 turning in that pan. So maybe that could be our path forward. Cubs is probably not going to care. He's in go mode. Just go to the king spot, take out whatever's there, take out the Masa spot, and then finish the seed.
And he's already done a D machine grind, so probably has levels enough to take on Zeramus, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And with this party, what is going to be the Zeramus strategy that you want to focus on?
Oh, you're hybrid. You're hoping to find a Bacchus one somewhere. If you don't already have one, Edge is going to try to jam up the queue as much as he can, and you're taking 2 nuke casters. If you want to be cheeky about it, you can try to do double nuke reflex strats. I don't know. If you can survive 2 big bangs, then it's fine. You just have to be a little bit cognizant of the Zeramus score.
So, Edge is really the only character in this party who's worth berserking.
Sid can do some damage, but Sid... No, you could Zerk Sid as well, get him into the queue. He's gonna be on the slower side for sure. I know we saw a curse ring somewhere. I forget who picked it up. But that might actually be able to get Edge slow enough that other party members are going to be pretty easily able to contribute. Ultimately, at these levels, it's really... Sid can be used as a chemist, especially for those of us who don't believe in Ashura from Rydia, because it will cast Life 1. It is technically 1/3 of a chance, but anyone who's ever used Ashura against Zeramus knows that it happens about 90% of the time. But it's really going to be interesting to see where this Edge is going to fall agility-wise.
I'm also interested to just see what, is at the, what items are here at the King and Queen spot. And if any of those might be something that just changes the strategy around.
Yeah, what you could think about doing is to not Zerk your Edge, which is a little bit interesting because you don't have anyone really jamming the queue. But basically just toss everything you have at Zeramus with Edge, count your damage, and then end with a Reflex strat, and don't have the refill of Zeramus once he reaches 45,000 HP of damage. It'll be interesting to see what Cubs does against Zeramus, but we are still quite a bit away from that. He still has to take on the King spot, and he does also need to take on whatever is at the Masamune spot. Meanwhile, Scarcer is up lower. Babel is stealing his sirens from the alerts. Has everyone else down so that there is only one turn he has to care about, which is Edge stealing sirens. And Sofnum is doing his grind on these eggs.
Did the update to 4.6 change the price of sirens?
I do not believe so.
So, do you think Scarcer just didn't check the Dwarf Castle shop and didn't know that they were there?
He saw them. I don't think he had that much money, though. And we do see some proof here that, yes, karate does hit very, very hard, and mages should not be in the front row at that spot. It'll be interesting to see how much this kick does. I want to say it's like 400, 500 damage. But this is not particularly a fight you'd like to see without a quick way of dealing with it. We're going right after that Palom again. No Bacchus wine to speak of. And then we're just gonna continually throw nukes. If we get lucky, Tella gets to throw a blink somewhere. Scarcer looks like he has finished stealing his sirens and is now out of Lower Babel. And looks like he may be deciding to turn in the pan.
I mean, if you don't know where your go mode is, like, pan is a perfectly reasonable check because it's just going to be 3 more chances to get something right.
Yep. And in his case, if he finds the harp, that's his go mode. So we shall see if the harp is behind the Sheila chain. Meanwhile, this karate is being very rude. May deserve a pan bonk afterwards anyways. Just a glass hat from the man himself would be useful for this fight we are currently witnessing in Cubs Rule side. Which may be very helpful for Scarcer and Softnum.
I was just wondering, how much health does this spot have? And
it has 35,000 HP.
And Cubs Rule did just chew through that 35,000, so and it was, gets the objective, which is the real reward, because I don't think the other thing was all that. I didn't quite see what it was.
Nope, it was a Dragoon Helm, which the number of characters in this party that can currently wield a Dragoon Helm is, I think there's a Sid in there, and just a white shirt from, I think that was Sheila 2. No, that's Sheila 1. And a Luca key from Sheila 2.
So Twin Harp at Sealed Cave?
We can only hope. We do see Cubs Rule say... Probably realizing I really want a Silk Web for Zeromus at the minimum, if not both Zeromus and the Masamune altar. Did take a Siren outside of Kokol. Gets a Centipede, which does have a steal of a Silk Web.
Yeah, stealing from monsters is definitely one of the nice things about having Edge in the party. Maybe not Edge Hero, but it's good that he's able to contribute this way.
As we sort of see this going on, Cubs is going to steal his Silk Webs and then go up to take the long walk of the LST. Scarcer is walking up the Fame Arch, and we see a grind on Softnum's side. I do, again, want to take the opportunity to thank our behind-the-scenes members here. Zald, again, on the tracking side, keeping us honest in the booth, and Arlenor for being our restreamer seed roller tonight. Rolling a Here Are All Your Bosses seed, and one of the lower number of key items that I would expect from a seed like this. It's been very interesting to watch. We've seen interesting plays, I would say. Did not expect that Dean Machine from Cubs Rule, and it was really nice to watch that sort of come together.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it was not the most ideal situation for a Demon Machine, so being able to pull it off just kind of takes the time and attention in the battle.
It was Scarcer that does have that Cursed Ring. Wonder if that Cursed Ring is going to go on Edge here to try to slow that Edge down. Everything is relative to the agility of Edge. I think that is a Moonveil in Scarcer's inventory as well, which I believe he got from Eblin Castle.
Now, for Cubs, is it just going to make a beeline to Massa Spot, or is there anything else you might want to do on the way?
No, he's going right to Massa. He has the levels. Edge and damage-wise is essentially a non-factor. Nukes are going to be our main DPS. We'll see what he does against Zeromus, but we're not going to take the time to do anything else other than look at Massa, hopefully beat Massa. Maybe he is going to take a Siren now. I'm like, you already demachined. You have your levels.
I was wondering if there was any trap chests that might be worth looking into just to see if there's something a little extra power to go in, but it also just sounds like maybe everything's already lined up, so it's just a matter of making the walk.
Yeah, we're not playing with vanilla monsters in a box, so you can open up any chest you want, and you have no idea what you're gonna get. If they were vanilla, such as what they were in, say, the OMG flag set, then you could think about it, because you know where sort of the more free ones are, but at this point, you don't want to open up a chest and be greeted with Bimmy and Jimmy, or Bimmy or Jimmy and Jimmy. That would, even with the two new casters, that would get a little bit scary.
And Scarcer did open the sealed gate or sealed door.
Yep, is going to take a peek at the item down here. We know, unfortunately, this is not our Baron key because we've already seen it, but maybe it is our harp. And that is something you particularly don't want to see. That is Mega Sisters at the Masa spot. This is what we would consider rude.
But we decided to give it easy by having like all the answers at Baron Castle, then reamping the difficulty by giving you this.
If you didn't have a grind before taking this fight, you're gonna grind before taking this fight. The only character that would have survived that particular fight or two was exactly Sid.
And I was going to say, like, you could also take a grind at this fight, just like let the middle sister revive the other ones and spend a while here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that is not on the cards. Not intentionally, anyways. We do get a pigtail. He's walking this out to see the boss, and once it's not going to be, Leviathan is going to reset.
Yeah, with no adamants on Pinktail is just some high tier item, right?
Yes. Or Scarcer is going to make a liar out of me and is going to take on this Bigan for a Pinktail. It'll be interesting to ask him about this afterwards. Because we don't even have the hook. So I'm curious why he's taking this out. Maybe for the fans.
And we also do see that one of the sisters did get revived.
Yeah, the issue is that wall, so the nuke strats kind of fall off. I don't think we have any axe that hits mages particularly hard. We don't have any mute knives. Things that would be ideal. Leviathan on Rydia is certainly a strat, or Quake on Callum. Looks like we're also going for Reflect nukes, which do get through the wall that Cindy has up. Question is, how many revives are we going to get? This nuke may be able to do it. Does take care of that Mega Sisters. Do we see the meme, is this our harp? It could be.
I don't think we're going to go back and check that, though, are we?
No. It's going to be interesting to see, is Cubs going to take a safety save, or is he going to swag walk to Zeromus? No save whatsoever. I'm curious what this Edge's agility is. It looks like Cubs is saying, yeah, with this agility situation, we are going to take a safety save.
Yeah, and you don't want to really do that Mega Sisters fight again if you happen to wipe on Zeromus.
No. This is one of those cases where Zeromus certainly isn't free. It can get out of hand, especially if your healing strategy is to use Assure on Rydia.
And the Softnum did just show us, I'm pretty sure that was the demist as the at Ruby spot in the hook route.
Which is interesting, because that is a possible key item. We cannot get to it, though, because that requires our hook. Gonna try to get a little bit better agility, I think. I didn't actually see what the number was.
Looks like they're going to just take a fight to possibly get a level or two to change that agility.
That is my guess. Getting a good encounter on the first one. The King and King Reeves. I do see Scarsor is headed back up to the Fey March. Softnum is taking on this Mom Bomb as well. Of course, again, we in the booth are hoping for a harp. Even though the easier answer is indeed a Leviathan at Miss Cave. Miss Cave strikes again. Seems to be a meme at this point. So yeah, breakpoints that we're looking for Zeromus. We are looking for, I assume, 42 agility at this point for Edge, making Zeromus relative agility 3. With a Silk Web, that would turn him to relative agility 6. And that will make Zeromus quite a bit slower for us. There's that hook, so if you wanted to check that D-Mist, there it is. Your D-Mist is online if you wanted to go that route.
Okay, and Cubsroll's fine with that current setup. Took that one fight, saved again, and is now headed down.
Oh. We will see if this pans out. We got Softnum walking down the Tower Lower Babel, and Scarsor looks like is going to take on that karate, but we do have one thing on Cubs Rule side that we do have to talk about. Of course, we're starting to see a couple of these little Z-Sprat flags showing up. This is, of course, the first race of the club season, so tell me, Joker Mage, what are those flags about?
Well, I think it's nap time. I'm starting to feel a little exhausted, but it could also just be that we don't know who exactly we're fighting, because, you know, Z is a cosplayer, likes to get dressed up for these fights. So we do have a question, and that question is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Yes, and what's going to be interesting is, of course, this is the first restream race on 4.6 beta. We have all new sprites, we have all new music. Of course, we haven't seen music. This could be the first time that Free Enterprise is showcasing a sprite. We shall see after we throw the crystal. Of course, there's other questions like, is it cute? We've rolled into 2024. Those of us have to ask, can it do our taxes? We're going to parry around until we get the character.
The more important question might be, should we let it do our taxes?
We will find out. I'm hoping it's a new sprite, but we will see. That major, most of them, Scholar Kitty, huge thanks for putting the sprites together. But here it is. Is it a world premiere? Shows us a true form. And this is not a new sprite, but I can't remember what this is from.
I don't know what this one is, unfortunately.
I know I've seen it before.
Hopefully chat will be able to answer that question for us.
It's from Off. Which I have never actually... I may have heard about it, but I am not familiar with it.
What was it called again?
Off is a critically acclaimed Belgian-French language surreal adventure RPG. Made in 2008 with RPG Maker 2003.
Yeah, it's probably a far deeper cut than I'm capable of comprehending, I think. And we do see Softnum getting trapped by that evil rope right there. It's, you know, gotten most of us at some point or another.
Yep. And we do see the nukes coming out on Cubs Rule side. No Bacchus wines, nothing like that. We're going to try to fast our black mages. We're just trying to get as many actions into the queue, essentially, on these nukes, and we're trying to make sure that we do not tip this Zeromus. What I mean by tip is that Zeromus cannot have its full 106,000 HP through the game. So what it does is after you do 45,000 HP, or Zeromus has 16,000 HP left because it starts at 61,000, it will refill to its full health of 61,000 again, and therefore having essentially 106,000 health. But that is a counter script, so if you do these reflect nukes and never actually attack Zeromus directly, that counter refill will not happen. And so that is what Cubs Rule is trying to do to make sure that we don't have a much longer fight.
Yeah, and like looking back at what we've seen for this entire race so far, I really feel like the deciding factor in this particular seed was, checking that mist cave and finding that Leviathan, because you see what the person who did that is now in the final fight, and the other two are still trying to find their answers.
Yep. This cave will get you. We do have a legend sword that will be a weapon for Edge. Possibly.
You are hoping for scrap, right?
It's the only thing I will acknowledge. Do you see these nukes go off, though? A nice 9,000 roll on Zeromus. We see that spell hanging out on screen. So get your GGs in chat for Cubs Rule 21 taking first place in this race with an official race bot time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 11 seconds.
Yeah, it was definitely like a fairly quick one. Part of that was, just the having that triple objective at Liberate Baron, but it's also, checking that Mist Cave, finding Leviathan just, means you're not doing a whole lot of other stuff afterwards.
And we do see Myrrh altars, or Myrrh swords, for sale here at the Cocal shop for a fresh, I believe, 88,000, or maybe it's 66,000. I think it's 66,000. So can buy a couple of those. We'll see what the forge item itself is.
I think for the other two, it's simply a question of, do they find Twin Harp first, or do they check Mist Cave first?
Well, we don't know where that Twin Harp is. Maybe we'll see it on Cubs Rule's scroll through the credits. We'll see if Cubs Rule is going to be joining us for an interview or not. We did see a Misono up for the forge item, which is a decent katana. So not going to be too upset about that. It does unfortunately increase Edge's agility by 10, but also gives plus 10 strength.
Do we know what item they're going to get from the pink tail?
Nope. It's going to be a random tier 7, tier 8. This party doesn't really have much to do with
that's
tier 7s.
awful. Like, just explode from Baigen there at the end.
Yep. Unfortunate. Happens to everybody. Is going to take another shot at this, it looks like. Let's see, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th key item for a soft nub. We see Scarcer looks like is going to head to the moon and see if the answers are indeed up here.
I mean, there's plenty of altars to check for that Twin Harp.
Yes. Again, we should see on the scroll on Cubs Rule screen whether or not that harp is indeed up here or what that chain is.
Cubs only opened 51 chests. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and starting off with that Eblin Castle play as well. that ding in my ears, we are joined by tonight's winner, Cubs Roll 21. GG's to you.
Thank you. GG's. I am rusty as heck on D Machine. That existed.
Yeah, so starting off with the scene, what convinced you to go directly to Eblin Castle?
Like the first 10 minutes, I was looking for something for Edge. Anything. And literally wasn't anything to be found. I think I ended up buying short swords and missed like 20 minutes into the seed just to have something that wasn't a Thunderclaw.
Yeah, you didn't even... There were no ninja swords for sale underground either, were there?
I honestly didn't look. By the time I got there, I had already done a full D Machine. I chuckled at the sirens in Dwarfs, like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting. I was not expecting to see a D Machine grind on a flag set that had an Edge hero, so talk a little bit about that decision.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Oh my god, the harp is from the tower!
Yep, there it is.
I was very mad seeing the Tella. I was very mad seeing the darkness. And just kind of resigned once I saw the Palom. I kind of wish I'd gone underground first, because that would have gotten me a third Black Mage. But, I mean, the two of is a sketchy fight, but it worked out. No, the moment I saw the darkness and the Palom on the moon,
it's over.
Yeah, I knew where it was going. That early, you kind of have to.
You luckily had the little fraud to be able to psych some MP out and had enough survivability.
That is dead multiple times without the silk web.
Yes.
Somehow that came through. I think there was an Ether 1 in there. There was a Lilith Rod. There was a Succubus. I actually thought about... I ended up doing an extra one. I thought about doing more, but forgot that I could siphon MP from Edge. Just with the complete lack of any gear, I was thinking like level 60s on the two mages, but I just barely had enough to sneak that one through.
So you were the first person to get through Baron Castle, and also still the only person to check Mist Cave at this point. So after you got those and found like more than half of your objectives were completed, how are you feeling?
To be honest, annoyed at the D Machine. No, at that point, triple Baron, by the way, is ridiculous.
You were hoping for the quad.
I was half expecting it, and then I was expecting Ogo at Cape Bahamut when I saw that sparkle. At that point, I knew I had 5 in hand. As soon as I got underground, I had 6. I wasn't expecting Ogo at Dwarf. I was ready to reset out of that until Sparkle showed up. But yeah, I was just that whole scene. I mean, the first 20 minutes is just like screaming, "Hey, idiot, go do a D Machine." So it's like, fine. I hate it, but fine.
The Edge hero is trying to tempt you away from it. I still am laughing at the fact here that our harp is through the Maga Sisters at the Masamune altar.
Oh god.
Yeah, that tower key had the harp.
I missed that in the roll. Oh my. Yeah, that was a nice surprise. That could have been really bad.
Oh, and it lines that Muraldar's cursor is showing us.
Ouch. Yeah, so oof. The was no getting around that Masa altar. Yikes.
No. No getting around the Baron Castle, no getting around the Masa altar. I'm pretty sure the reason why it was like random tough quest 1 was to avoid having to do the moon. Or possibly avoid having to do the moon. Turns out that is definitely not the case this time.
No. No. I was like everything good I think I threw in the first 10 minutes. I know I threw a Gungnir at Val, I threw a Shrike. I bought Slumber Swords to throw those. That's not something I've done in a while.
That's old strats.
Yeah, that's Edge has swinging literally nothing. What can I do?
And the best part is because it's T-Pro with the sort of beta, you actually expect to see more ninja swords. And they just did not exist.
Well, they're still tier 5.
Yeah, but for Eblin Castle on T-Pro has removed anything that could possibly be upper tier.
Yeah, a mute knife, a middle sword. Even a short sword I would have been thrilled at. No, it was you will take your Thunderclaw and you will have a second Thunderclaw and like it.
And you will not get back row until you get underground and see a full moon. And then awkwardly exit out of Dwarf Castle, save, because you don't want to walk back in for it.
I think Edge attacked once with it? Maybe twice? I honestly don't remember. I wasn't really planning on taking a fight after Masa Altar either, but 41 agility, no.
Ooh, okay, yeah,
no.
I didn't see exactly what that agility number was, but yeah, I can definitely see the 41 agility. You're just like, yeah, 42 is going to happen here.
I wasn't sure the fasts were going to get off in time, and if they'd even help, but maybe? I don't know. Fast with Tella is yet another thing I haven't done in the Z fight before, so...
We're starting off this club season strong.
Yeah, that was absolutely a role that existed. A role of a seed.
It was a jet seed and a good luck seed all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at what's currently going on screen, that Miss Cave decision, I think, is the deciding factor in your victory, because currently we've got a hook route on Softnum's side and a wyvern on Scarsfur's side.
For the record, we do know that D-Mist is at hook 2 at the Ruby spot, so we do know that there is also a key item in the hook route.
Yeah, I was very happy to not have to worry about that turtle at the CPU or at the Elements.
Yeah, we saw that. We're like, well, you're never taking that.
No. It took a good 5 tries to get the D machine. I don't think I've had that much trouble finding a D machine in that long, but
the game was trying to encourage you away from it.
Yeah, unfortunately, committed at that point. Nothing I could do.
We just gotta turn on E Can't Run or E No XP again. It'll be fine. That would have made this seed, E No XP on this seed would have been a fun.
Just, I enjoy fast heroes. I don't so much enjoy trying to do reflect strats with fast heroes, but no, I always like a good edge hero. Those are fun seeds.
Yeah, I'm personally a fan of Sea Hero as well. But yeah, this party not particularly suited for that.
No. I thank you both for commentary. Looking forward to watching this one back. I miss community races. I don't know that I'm gonna get to do another one with GDQ coming up, so I'm glad I was able to get this one in, and that we're restarting these after the tournament. But thank you both for comms. Zald, thank you very much for tracking. Arenlor, we're having words later. after that roll. And there, I don't know if anyone caught in the credits. There might have been a little bit of a surprise. Something hiding out there in the credits roll. If anyone saw, see if anyone was able to pick that one out. But yeah, I appreciate. Thank you very much, everyone, and looking forward to seeing how this flag set goes the rest of the week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for the beautifully run race.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. Yeah, so that wyvern was at the ribbon room, and Scarcer was not able to get through that, and is now instead of fighting Bahamut over at White Spear Altar.
And it's a shame because we know up here that our answers are Miss Cave or that Magus Sisters.
Yeah, it's this has just been like the exact kind of thing we would love to start the season out with, like a bunch of silliness that just pans out in the most amazing ways.
Yep. It'll be interesting to ask whether or not Sofnum and Scarcer have forgotten the existence of Miss Cave at this point. I've definitely been an hour plus into a seed and didn't realize that I still hadn't checked it. And has burned me pretty much the same way here. I assume this Bahamut's going to be going down. There it is. Let's see if we get any sort of power from this White Spear.
And I also did notice that the Pinktail turned into an Avenger.
Yes. Unfortunately for us, the Avenger right now is just a dart. And we do get the Sand Ruby on Scarcer aside from the White Spear. Also worth noting, the not Cecil character that was along the hook route, or the not Fusoya character that was on the hook route, was indeed a young. Judging by the movements that Sofnum did as soon as he saw the young, I assume not the character he was looking for.
Yeah, and it kind of like, prompts the question, where exactly are Fu and Cecil hiding? I'm assuming one of them's behind that turtle on the giant, but is the other the Sand Ruby character?
Or they could both be hiding out in Zot.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Earth Crystal at all.
I don't even remember where it was on the spoiler log. But as we do see, Scarcer is going to see these Mega Sisters, is probably going to be like, why? Meanwhile, Sofnum is taking on this Mage Ashura. I believe bought a Mute Knife as well, so should help for this fight. Not going to get anything of value here, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and as far as this goes, as long as Scarcer can get through this, that will give Scarcer, the tower key, and then hopefully Scarcer will actually go and check that for go mode.
Yeah, we'll see. It's probably not too much of a reason for him to ditch the moon at this point. But, you know what? You're an hour 30 into the seed. You've seen Cubs finish. It was the Legend Sword Adashara, my bad, so that is Forge. You've seen Cubs finish, so you're probably thinking that the way through the seed should not be that difficult.
Yeah, and as we know, it really isn't. It's just, that thing that gets overlooked.
Yes. But, I mean, we're going to see what happens, but first off, we are seeing why this fight is so absolutely awful. Maga Sisters at Ogopogo. Ogopogo having a very nice high attack, physical attack, and having a very nice high magic attack as well. One of those places, sort of, honestly, the one place you absolutely do not want to see Maga Sisters, you may say Element Spot up on the Giant as well, just because it will have the full HP of 104,000 between the three. But the element spot is significantly more tame than this particular altar that has nearly max physical and magic attack. So for me, this would be the absolute worst spot to see this boss, and of course, it's required. You're not getting away from having to do this.
Yeah, it's just a matter of you get through this and then get through the next part, and then we'll see what happens to be at the I mean, at this point, I don't know if we actually saw in spoilers, or even if it would show us in spoilers what is waiting for us over at Cave Magnus.
It didn't show us the boss. I can tell you that the item is a spoon. So, not a key item, but definitely 9,999 damage by a dart. And we'll see what Sofnum does from here. I mean, at this point, if you're either of our racers, EC Cubs will finish at 114. If I'm in this position, I'm thinking, what did I miss?
Yeah, you're completely right. It's like you see that time, and you're like, okay, I missed something.
But let's see. Scarcer is hopefully going to get something else out. Is going to try for I believe that was an Ashura cast. Hopefully, we're actually hoping for a Grey Face here. Definitely hoping for the Life 1 cast on Ashura. That is unfortunately tier 4. No dice there. I did want to point out something particular that we saw. Cubs Rule did allude to this in the credits sequence. To spoil that, Aranor did also make the point in chat, though there are a couple of names in the credits that weren't there in 4.5 that helped 4.6 beta become a thing. Both Asuka 424 and Neobari for their contributions in getting the 4.6 beta play tested for sure. Again, if you are interested in free enterprise or being part of the community, we do have a Discord. This is the perfect time to jump in. Asuka, of course, is the leader of the Pink Puff League. Every Thursday, there is a live race. It is meant to teach you how to play free enterprise, featuring a whole bunch of flag sets, some very obscure and intricate lore, let's put it that way. Lots of fun. This week, we're going to showcase it on Restream on Thursday with Supermarket Sweep. It's definitely one of those fun flag sets.
Yeah, and if you're into noodles but don't necessarily want danger noodles, maybe you want some spaghetti, another one of our clubs is Mom's Spaghetti Club, which puts on a very interesting flag set that tends to, be very jetty and just sort of puts you on the edge and gets you... you need to sort of figure out how to get the answers together really quickly. And it's a lot of fun. I think they're going to be doing live races on Saturday.
Yes, I believe Saturday at 3 p.m. We do see this reset from the alien on the moon in his what we call natural habitat. Very painful to invade his home up on the moon. Both Scarcer and Sofnum have seen that. Sofnum fortunately didn't save while on the moon. Maybe jog his memory that that Miss Cave is a location. Or did save on the moon, my bad. Just did not choose the right slot.
I mean, Sofnum also did see Miss Dragon when scouting out the hook route. So one would also hope that might also remind the runners that the Miss Dragon does have its own natural habitat.
Yeah, so what's interesting about this particular situation is that they are missing one boss and one key item. Obviously, in the booth, we know where that key item is and we know where that boss is. But there is something to be said about, okay, you're probably going to find the Leviathan, let's peek all the altars and do the ones that we can do. And maybe we luck into the harp and then do Masa to finish it off. Unfortunately for our racers, our Masa is the answer regardless. But in this case, for both our racers currently still racing, you're really hoping just to find that Leviathan somewhere up here, preferably the Masa altar, so you can just be done with it. Fortunately for our racers, that's just not the case.
Yeah, and Skyster knows now, like, I think Skyster has seen all the altars and knows that Leviathan's not up here. Softener, I don't think has seen all the altars yet.
No, it's just seen the Mura altar with the antlion. And of course, you have to have in the back of your mind as well, what if the the Leviathan is at the harp, and Cub's Rule just got lucky and found the harp somewhere. And that's how he managed to get a 114. But you don't know that as a racer, right? You just have to... You know that there's a 114 time out there, so you were thinking it's not going to be too bad to finish the seed. Just gotta find the right answer. And to Cub's Rule's point, the answer may have just been that deep machine as well. It's interesting, too, because our racers, we do have those hourglasses from the Hummingway shop. If they want some more EXP, we had the Sirens, but we can also start opening these monster boxes on the moon and get a whole bunch of EXP that way, and possibly quite a bit more power. Leviathan's decent. Quake's a little bit better. Quake, for the cast time, is going to be a little bit better. But something that's certainly better than Leviathan is Bahamut.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly looking at their HP pools, it does look like Softnum is in the slightly stronger position in terms of levels.
Yeah, Softnum took a little bit longer of an egg grind than Scarcerer did. So that's where those levels are coming from.
And that could make a lot of difference for that Masa Sisters fight.
Yeah. But, like, as I was saying, we don't even have to go for a monster chest on the moon for a Bahamut. Bahamut's now tier 6. So you could open up a chest on the moon, no fight whatsoever, and there's your Bahamut orb. And at this point, it really can't be overstated how much that would improve things. But we do see our pass is at the Crystal Sword altar, so that at least there was some value. Especially because it looks like for both Scarcer and Softnum, we're not going to end at the Masa altar, although I may have spoken too soon because we see that exit cast come from Scarcer without doing the Masa altar.
Probably is hoping to, find some other answer, then go back a bit stronger.
Yeah, I mean, it is a long walk down to the Masa altar. It's not something you want to take twice. So at this point, Scarcer is saying, I bet I have the answer somewhere, not including that Masa altar. I don't think got any other key item that gets anything from the moon. Might check who that Sand Ruby character is, might think, ooh, maybe it's a Fu, who would be helpful right now. But otherwise is in the same situation that he was before he went to the moon in terms of available checks. Is taking the path to Lower Babel, going up the tower. I wonder if he's going to try to find more sirens. No, doesn't look like it.
So unfortunately, looks like it's going to be Keyless Tower when we know that Keyed Tower has the final answer for him.
Yep. And of course, Softnum has already done the first half of the tower. It is using summons against Wyvern. Wyvern counters summons with, just a Mega Nuke. So you can actually, it's a really good way to get through Wyvern as well. If you can get the Veils up in time, just repeatedly summon against Wyvern and have Wyvern basically, kill itself. by baiting out that Mega Nuke over and over and over again.
Unfortunately, it only looks like the one veil was up when that happened, and so 4 members went down.
Yeah. I don't know how many no, I saw another, we have 5 star veils total, it looked like, so would be able to get them up if you drop that battle speed down really low. Again, we're sort of hampered by the fact that Edge is fast. If you put the curse ring on Edge, put the battle speed down to 6, throw veils up on everyone or everyone but Tella, depending on what you want to do, and then basically just summon with Rydia, do the 3000 with a Leviathan, get the Mega Nuke. Wyvern is going to Mega Nuke 4 or 5 times to himself to do 8,000-9,000 damage. Quake with Palom, throw the kitchen sink with Wyvern, with Edge, and you should be able to get through that. It's just you have to, I think, drop the battle speed a little bit there too.
And it looks like Softenham's going to try and take on the D-Lunars. I'm not sure if Softenham actually saw this before or not, but we do know it is just D-Lunars here.
Yep. And Softenham will know that it's not the boss he's looking for because he's just looking for that Leviathan. We're going to see if Scarcer is going to take this hook that he's going to get from Mom Bomb and is going to go down the hook route to go to that D-Mist. I'm trying to remember if Scarcer was able to get through these D-Lunars as well. They are fast. Well, actually, they're not that fast. It's actually the slowest spot on the moon by a fair margin. But fast relative to everyone that isn't Edge, unfortunately, and they hit really, really, really hard. That spot is tied for the most physical attack in the game, because Bahamut doesn't need to have any physical attack.
So if you're in Softenham's position, what would you be doing about now?
Wish I took more sirens. I don't even know if Softenham has... Did he peak the Masa altar? Because if he hasn't, that would be the first thing I do. And then wish I took more sirens. And then if I had hourglasses in my inventory, I'd start opening up chests on the moon.
Just trying to get some levels in to get through some of those fights?
Yep, get levels, get gear, get equipment.
Looks like Scarcer's about to get a Sand Ruby character.
It's interesting because we had a community race last off-season, and there's a Kane, which would be good for an Avenger once he turns in that... If he turns in that pigtail, gets the Avenger, I wonder if he goes back and grabs that Kane. And I assume we're going to find out that answer very quickly.
I'm guessing that Scarcer was may have been banking on that being Fusoya or something like that.
Yeah, we don't have any equipment for a Cecil. So it'll be interesting to see what our racers do. It looks like... Where is Softenham going? There's Miss Cave. Go up, go up, go up! It's going to do Barren Basement. We did not see what this was going to give us. So this could still, in our racer's mind, be the heart. And Scarcer is finally...
We saw it.
Oh, okay. By the spoilers, thanks to our tracker, Barren Basement does hold the Earth Crystal. Scarcer is going to see this Leviathan. Probably is saying words that we cannot repeat on this channel.
This is also just not going to be much of a fight at this point. Yeah, there you go. There's your objective.
And now he gets now Scarcer gets to say, well, I know where Objective 6 is. I just need to be able to beat Objective 6. And Scarcer does know there are sirens for sale. So could take a longer grind. Hopefully Scarcer doesn't think that it's well, he knows where Objective 6 is. I guess we need 7. So what's the other one he's missing?
He might also just be hoping to find that twin harp so he doesn't have to do the sisters fight. But as we know, sisters are the ones holding the twin harp. Or
Okay.
at least the key to the twin harp.
Yep. And neither of them have apparently done the karate fight at the king. That's what I was thinking of. So he knows he's in go mode. And he knows what he needs to beat to finish the game. He either needs to beat the Maga Sisters at the Masa altar or the karate at the king spot, plus finding the harp. And as we've harped about it the entire scene, or past 20-30 minutes, the harp is behind the Maga Sisters.
Sofnum is through the octopus and now has an earth crystal. Do you think that's what you go do next, is check out that earth crystal?
You just spent the time beating it? Yeah, you're gonna go check that. Maybe takes a pit stop at Miss Cave and changes his mind once he sees the Leviathan. But we shall see. If he's not going to stop at Miss Cave, then I suspect we're going to be heading towards the Tower of Zot. Or we can continue to prove myself wrong.
Yeah, it looks like the
going to type that first.
Yeah, it's the Sand Ruby check.
Makes sense. We'll see if he decides to take this king with the Avenger in hand. Nope. Neither of our racers wanting to get rid of the Tella. Probably because of exit.
Well, I think in Sofnum's case, it's partially because Sofnum has already done grind and might not be willing to do another.
Maybe. I mean, Tella is not doing too much at this point. We do see Scarcer taking a heal here at the pot, the Dwarven toilet. See if he picks up more sirens. Tella is our only source of exit. In Scarcer's case, we know we can end our entire seed on the moon. So exit doesn't particularly matter.
So for Scarcer, it seems like the way forward is get a bunch of levels, go take on that king spot, then go back to the moon and finish it.
Yes. That would be the way free the seed at this point.
Meanwhile, we are going to see the Zot detour from Sofnum.
Yep, and on T-Pro, we're not going to bother with the treasury. Not an hour 50 in. Though again, Bahamut Orb could certainly be sitting in there, and that would be nice, but not going to be tempted by that.
I mean, we know that the Twin Harp's not here, so possibly the best outcome for this might be getting Fusoya out of it.
Yeah, Fusoya would just be, bye, Tella, you cast exit. Thanks.
I don't know if he would necessarily take Cecil, but I mean, that could be the answer for the King's fight as well.
Yeah, I guess the question is, if you take Cecil, who are you going to get rid of? Because Cecil thankfully does start with 600 HP, so is going to survive a kick from Yang. You'd like to be able to cast Blink, whether or not it's by illusion or something else. I believe this is our last Sparkle. This will be our Plague. And so, yeah, maybe you're hoping for a Cecil so that you get easy time through that karate with a little bit of setup. believe I saw a Quake coming out from Palom there. That's not going to do anything because Plague is indeed flying. And this count, I am curious about how fast it's going to be. We are, I believe that Edge is cursed. And Scarsor is going through his grind. Luckily, 9,000 HP is not a lot to chew through.
Yes, as often I'm sorry through that, and we'll get a check to see who is the betrayer and who is the captive.
Who have we not? Ooh. You know, if we really want this seed to be very rude, if we really want this seed to be rude, we put a Golbez up here. If we put a Golbez at Zot 2...
Well, there's our Paladin.
Yes, there is our Paladin, Cecil. We know that will take care of Yang in one hit with the proper timing. We see some Cockatrice going out from Scarsor's side to try to get rid of these eggs. But yeah, a Golbez right here would be particularly terrible, and we do have a Vanilla Rosa as well.
Okay, so we didn't get Fusoya, but we did get a potential answer to Yang if we want to work with that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here in terms of who gets let go. So Cecil for the Sid, and I assume Rosa going to keep the Tella over Rosa. Okay.
I mean, at this point, both your Paladin Cecil and Rosa would have exit going out, so you don't really need to keep Tella for exit at this point.
No. Rosa would very quickly be able to slingshot to Cure 4 as well. So luckily not Golbez up here, just elements. This will be taken care of very quickly. Golbez up here would be very scary because we have Edge, who's our anchor. Golbez Shadow will take out 3 characters, and you need to be able to get Starveil up because Golbez's attacks will just kill you in this spot. So, luckily, not the comedy man up here. Otherwise, we'd be finding ourselves in a situation where you really hope that Edge survives.
Yeah, and I don't know if we caught where Golbez actually was in the spoiler reel that we saw on Cub's side.
No, I do not believe I saw Golbez. He's hiding somewhere. Could it be Harp? Or he might not be. There is one boss that does not get placed in the seed because of the Waterhead fight. So Golbez could be taking the night off. We do just get an Hourglass 2 from the Tower of Zot.
Well, Sofnum now has Cecil and has to figure out how to work that into the plan.
And it'll be interesting to see. So the conventional wisdom of 4.5 was you have a Paladin go to Eblin Castle, because your Eblin Castle is probably going to have your complementary Holy Sword. We know right now in T Pro in 4.6, there cannot possibly be one in Eblin Castle. So
has a lightsaber.
Decent, but we can do better. Meanwhile, Scarsor is just cracking these eggs. And it looks like Softnump is going to follow.
I guess the question is, like, what kind of level or health pool do you want if you're Scarsor and Softnum at this point?
So, Scarsor is going to have a bit of a different Zeromus fight than we saw on Cub's side. Or at least a less scary one, I'll say. You have 2 Rydias and a Palom, which is 3 new casters, which makes Reflex Strat significantly easier than what Cubs Rule had to deal with. Because you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to get your all your nuke casts off before you see the second Big Bang. That's sort of the limit of reflex strats, so you don't want to see Big Bang number 2. The idea is to push it before the first or before the second. With 3 nuke casters and a Silk Web, that's ideal. So we're seeing that on Scarsor's side. So for the HP pool, you just want to be able to survive, a nerf Big Bang, and you're sort of hoping that the counter nuke doesn't kill one of your Rydias or Palom. For Sofnum, on the other hand, DPS is going to be a little bit lower, but at the same time, we're going to have 2 nuke casters, and we'll see with that Cecil might opt to go hybrid strats, so might be seeing the full 106,000.
I think Sofnum also has the Avenger from the Pinktail turn-in, so that could be what we put on Cecil.
Yes. Whether or not that's while going into the Zeromus fight, just to get his agility up, or Avenger glitching the Light Sword into the Avenger, so the Light Sword stats, which is a little bit better than the Avenger in terms of attack power. Either way, it'll be interesting to see what HP total Sofnum feels comfortable with, and whether or not we're going to be seeing Hope Ashura doesn't roll Grey Face 3 times in a row strats. Which is, of course, basically saying, I don't care what you roll. If it's Cure 3, that's good. If it's Cure 4, that's good. If it's Life 1, I do not thank you, Rydia. Please try again. Otherwise, I'm going to die, strats. Which again, I think most of us who have done a Zeromus fight at interesting levels, but with Ashura heal strats, has definitely had that Zeromus fight happen a few times. So we do actually see a good bit of tech from Scarsor here, using the Mitsuno as an item, cast the image ability. And so we do get a blink without having to use Tela. It's a very good game knowledge right there. We do see Sofnum going for this karate, opted to cover strat with Cecil, which does prevent Cecil from getting the hit off because he's going to take the damage, but does eventually revive Cecil and gets the script kill on karate around the same time that Scarsor gets rid of karate as well. The difference is, of course, Sofnum does not know the Leviathan sitting at Miss Cave, whereas Scarsor has beaten it, and so he is just a Masa altar away from finishing the seed himself. Well, that and the Zeroma sprite. Sofnum still has to figure out exactly where his gun load is coming from. I'd also like to thank Moobot in chat for mentioning the OMG Flags tournament that just ended a couple weeks ago. You can view the standings there if you're watching this on Twitch Live. The tournament's over, but thank you, Moobot. You're trying.
So we got Scarsor headed back to the moon, going to finish this off.
Yep, and we shall see what Sofnum will do. I hope it's going to Miss Cave. Go up. Yeah, there. It's right there. No. Yes.
I wonder if it was just like possibly that Sofnum thought that he already had checked Miss Cave, then realized he hadn't.
I'm guessing that's what it was. Is going to get his answer to the seed. Is probably going to realize exactly how Cups got a 114 on the seed.
And he did end up grinding that Cecil up to 2400 HP, so that's a very solid Cecil.
Yes, the slingshot helps considerably. Again, slingshotting where a character that is 5 levels or below the party average will get double the experience per fight until that is no longer true. So while the party was getting... we had 10 key items, so we already get double, so each egg was giving 68,000 experience. Cecil, who was getting a slingshot, was getting 136,000. That really does help getting the Cecil online.
Yeah, and Scarcer is pretty much just going to be beelining it for the Masa at this point.
Yep. And as we talked about before, yes, Scarcer has to pass, but we're not... more than likely not going to see it used. You might think about taking the pass if you're not confident that you're going to beat Zeromus the first time. So we shall see how Scarcer feels about it after taking on these Mega Sisters.
So now that Mist Cave Leviathan is gone, Sophanum is right behind Scarcer.
Yes. He is one walk down the LST away. I imagine at this point, Scarcer is not going to have too much trouble with Mega Sisters. The big thing there is just, the basically Delta attacks coming out from Mindy are very brutal at this spot.
Now, I guess the Sophanum's best chance of catching up at this point would be an unfortunate wipe on Scarcer's side.
Yeah, that's going to be what it's gonna take. More than likely, and that's not out of the question at all. Again, the Zeromus fight isn't free. It's a bit easier. Actually, I'm not entirely sure who has the easier fight. I mean, Sophanum is probably going to be able to jam the Q. It's probably going to be looking to do that with Berserk and Hybrid strats, whereas Scarcer is going to probably do triple Reflux strats. So, I think it does require a wipe either here or at Zeromus, but Zeromus isn't free. It's definitely not free when you have a hero like Edge. So anything can happen. It's definitely turned out to be a close race between our two racers up on the top.
Now, do you think Sophanum is going to have an easier or harder fight against the sisters?
It depends. Well, we got Reflect Nukes coming out. I think Sophanum has an advantage that I think he has a Mute Knife. So that will definitely help on the DPS side. But also has more survivability on that Cecil. Does as well. I didn't realize that Curstring was on Tela there. But I would expect it's going to probably be a little bit faster for Sophanum, but still trying to get a little bit lucky to make sure that Edge or Cecil aren't knocked down by Cindy.
And he is through.
Yes. GG Scarcer, here is your crystal as a reward. Do you swag walk to Zeromus?
Don't check the tower, though. Please don't.
I want one of our racers to go and check the harp afterwards.
I mean, we might get one of them to do it after they've finished Zeromus.
Good target with the Tela there. Edge barely surviving. Doesn't look like a Mute Knife is currently on Edge, which is unfortunate. So I know I saw one in Sophanum's inventory. And we do see reflex strats coming out. We do have the battle speed set to 3. That's sort of the standard for reflex strats against Aromas. I again continually miss what the agility situation is. Quote, good enough. We are going. Or maybe that is a meat knife on him. So we got Leviathan coming out for Sofnum, is not going for the reflected nuke strategy to get around Cindy's wall. So is also getting a sister grind here. Cindy is gone, so Mindy becomes a lot less threatening with that in play.
Yeah, and I think, correct me wrong, but the middle sister is the only one that can bring back the other two, right?
Correct.
So it's just a matter of finishing them off at this point, once you've got that middle sister down.
Yep. And there it is, Sofnum rather quickly dispatching of the Mega Sisters, taking advantage of that mute knife, it looked like. And we're going to get, Scarcer is on the Zeromus fight. I don't believe went back, or maybe, no, he did go back and save.
Sofnum going to swag walk or going to safety save?
I imagine safety saving because, again, it's an edge hero, but we shall see. No, it looks like it's also going to be a safety save for Sofnum.
And I do think part of that is definitely like having got through that sisters fight. You don't want to do that again.
No, you absolutely don't. And if you think there's even a chance of wiping, better to just walk and save. In something like this, where it's definitely a more casual race, do so. I could see it being a little bit different if you're in, say, a tournament match on a 1v1 situation. Depending on your opponent, you're just like, I need to, press all the advantage I have. So a little bit different situation here. We do start seeing these nukes come out for Scarcer. Unfortunately, that first one was a little bit too early. So did not get the nuke damage. We're going to throw this crystal out as our nerf, I guess, did not have a silk web, if he's using the crystal to nerf. So if Scarcer is going to not slow down this Aromas, this is going to be very spooky. One of the things you really want to do with the Aromas on reflex strats is to cast double slow or throw a silk web and just double the relative agility, or double the number, halve the speed essentially of Zeromus, so you get more actions. So at this point, we're just going to throw all of our hopes on nukes and hope that the two Rydias and Balam can do enough damage to not see Big Bang number 2.
Sofnum has entered the fight. I didn't get a good look at when Scarcer started, so I'm not sure exactly how many minutes ahead.
I did not either. I want to say it was around, late 209. So yeah, you just nuke, you continue to nuke, and you nuke as much as you can. And hopefully we get high rolls from these nukes. Now we're throwing the Silk Web. I guess this is an attempt to nerf. We'll see if the timing is correct here. I'm not entirely sure. It is tricky to nerf in this situation. That was probably not the greatest target. The Rydia that was about to cast Nuke, that seemed like it was good enough timing to get the nerfing of the Big Bang by setting the Big Bang spell power to that counter nuke rather than the original Big Bang magic power setting. Which is why we're only seeing up to 1200 damage on the Big Bang versus 2400 for that one. Unfortunately, does see a black hole that comes after the second Big Bang. So this Rydia is going to, unfortunately, take quite a bit of damage. More damage than she certainly has as HP, as we see quad 9s. Good job, Palom. Hopefully has enough time to put up another Star Veil and is able to throw out 2 more nukes.
Yeah, this has been a fairly rough Z fight for Scarsorter.
So, if you're throwing a Cure 3 here, you're basically saying, I'm about to eat a unnerfed Big Bang. And I want someone to survive here. There's no guarantee Edge survives here, and doesn't.
Oh, that's a really unfortunate fight there.
Yes, that was a 9-roll Big Bang after that black hole, so maximum amount of damage is 2700. And Edge took all of it. Meanwhile, on Sofnum's side, we have this Aromas fight. Rydia is currently down. Doesn't look like anyone is being berserked here either. A little bit surprised. We do have the Big Bang coming out. At least everyone but Edge is dead. Turns out everyone is dead. And this is why we safety. It looks like Scarcer is now saying, this fight isn't free, I am gonna go exit the moon, use the Pastor that he has access to from that Pass and Crystal Sword altar, and if I wipe again, at least I don't have to walk as far.
So, in terms of, like, what do you do at this point to, like, make sure you give yourself the best chance to sort of make sure, like, win the second round against Zeromus?
So for Scarcer, he needs to throw that Silk Web basically as the first nerf, not the Crystal. So slowing down Zeromus before that first Big Bang is critical for Reflux Threats. Once you do that, it should be free with 3 nuke casters. Unless that Edge is sitting at 41 agility. Or even 27, but either way. Yeah, that Silk Web needs to come out before that first Big Bang. I don't know what he did in terms of turn order, if... but having Edge or Tella throwing that Silk Web would be ideal. And then just getting the nukes out as quickly as possible. And then for Sofnum, I unfortunately didn't see too much of his Zeromus fight. I thought he was going to take more of a let's jam the Q with Berserk, Silk Web, and then hybrid strat it so that you have spells flying out from Palom and Rydia. Rydia could honestly, if you don't have nuke on Rydia, you could assign her to basically cast Ashura over and over again. And then Tella's kind of a thing. Tella exists for as long as he survives, I guess.
And that doesn't seem to have been very long in a lot of the cases.
No. Can die to a nerf Big Bang. Will obviously die to a counter nuke. This agility situation doesn't look too great either in Sofnum's side. I don't know what that number is, but those, I believe, were 2 shakes right before we even got the menu. So that's particularly not great. You would like to see that menu pop after the first shake. Zeromus if that edge is at, say, 41 or 27 agility, is going to be moving very fast.
It looks like Scarcer was changing around some equipment on one of the characters.
May have put some agility manipulation gear and wanted to take that off. But yeah, no, this is going very, very fast on Zeramis, it looks like. Oh, it does take that counter nuke. Going to revive Tella. I don't know if that's worth the action there, because I'm not entirely sure what Tella's use is. Tella is cursed, too, which leads me to believe Sofnum may have missed the fact that this is C Hero, despite having the hero cutscene on Mount Ordeals.
Another reset, though.
Yeah, it's one of those things you, if you're playing, say, Mystery Ladder, and you're not entirely sure what your agility situation is, the Zeramis fight can be very, very rough if you get it wrong. In particular, this becomes very apparent in, it's hero based on Mount Ordeals, but it's vanilla agility, and if you don't realize it's vanilla agility, which means that your agility situation is not governed by the hero flag, you'll figure that out against Zeramis when something is very wrong. We do see a Cure 4 coming out from Tella, healing for a few hundredths, as Tella does.
It feels like Scarcer may have gotten the flow or pace of this fight a bit better now.
Yeah. It's always important to be to figure out how much damage you're doing before the first Big Bang. Sort of have those guidelines of like, this is how much damage I want to take, or how much damage I want to do. Again, ideally in a reflex strat, you're not seeing a second Big Bang. Because a lot of times, that was a good counter nuke target. A lot of times, the counter nuke can cause more disruption to your plans. As we saw in that first attempt from Scarcer, where that counter nuke took out the Rydia about to cast nuke.
Yeah, I definitely had that happen to me before, where I thought I was reflecting a spell, and it turns out I did not.
And we do see a second Crystal Toss from Tella, thinking I assume that first one did not nerf. Unfortunately, that one goes on Iridia. Does have enough dodge rolls for that, but unfortunately is going to get taken out by the Big Bang. I assume this is Big Bang number 2. Hopefully these two nukes go out before the black hole. If it does, that should win it for Scarcer. We do see that nuke.
Just needed one.
Yep. So get your GGs out in chat for Scarcer, finishing with a race bot time of 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 31 seconds. Definitely a seed that had a lot of turns.
Yeah, this was a very hard one. Zeramis fight for both Sofnum and Scarcer.
Yeah, just showcasing how much C Hero can really swing things. A lot of us are used to having very nice agility values. Not possible in this case, unfortunately. Edge is going to be faster than all of the characters on this team. And unfortunately, Sofnum does take another wipe and has decided to forfeit. Certainly well within his rights. This seed has been rough. Definitely gave it a go. Put on a good show. So GG's to Sofnum there as well.
And we're now joined by Scarcer. GG, Scarcer.
Thank you. GG.
So I guess the first question we might ask is, when you saw Cubs finish off at 114, what was immediately going through your head at that point?
That he did a different grind than I did, or that I don't know. I'm like, oh, that's. I had no idea, honestly. It's like, oh, he finished. That's fun.
Did it start to make sense when you saw the Leviathan at Miss Cave?
Oh yeah, it made a lot of sense then, because then it's like, oh, that, yeah, I definitely would have like done 30 Sirens in a dream if I had found that Leviathan.
So Cubs did do a different grind. Cubs did do a D machine. It was a very interesting D machine, but one was done. But no, I mean that was certainly an adventure. Possibly the worst possible boss at the Masa altar. And I don't know if you've seen this for your credits so far, but that Masa altar is hard required. That tower key does lead to the Twin Harp.
That's fun. I honestly, the fights were tougher than I thought they would be, and I was treating them like they weren't tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that will throw a wrench into anybody's is having an edge hero. So when you don't get those turns that you're expecting, and especially with a team like this, right? You had 2 radios, a Palom, and a Tella. Not fast characters, even with a curse ring on edge. So, I mean, what were you thinking, sort of looking at that party composition, with an edge there as well?
I was upset that a good melee didn't show up on the overworld. I was like, okay, we'll do reflex strats, and that was definitely it felt like that wasn't the play.
I mean, there weren't really many weapons anyways, so it probably was to play. I will say the Pinktail that you did take out of Sealed Cave did turn into an Avenger. Cecil was at Zot behind the Octomom at Baron Basement.
I was never going back for that Octomom.
Yeah. But yes, basically your melee characters were that one in Zot, and of course the Cane that you saw at Sand Ruby that required, the Bahamut at the White Spear Altar.
Yeah, that was easy. That was...
So, I mean, going back to the beginning of the seed, if you remember that far, you start off Baron Key for Objective 1. You know Dark Elf, or maybe you're like me and forgot that Dark Elf was sitting at Baigen.
I forgot.
You have, the Magma Key from Fabul and the Darkness Crystal from Baron Inn. What are your thoughts at that moment?
A lot of grumbling, maybe some choice words.
Okay. Figured as much.
Do you think going from either 4.5 to 4.6, or going from having done like 8 weeks of OMG flag set to this brand new flag set affected, was that a hindrance at all?
I mean, the swapping between 4.5 and 4.6 wasn't, because the only real difference is a couple of price changes that don't, like, I'm not a fan of the hike in price of the life potions, but the other price changes don't really affect my playstyle. I'm not buying... If I'm buying a weapon, I'm going to sell the farm to buy the weapon anyways, and I'll just suffer if it's a more expensive weapon, or I'll suffer less if it's a less expensive one.
I will say I was very happy to see your usage of the Mitsunu, the image spell coming off of that.
Yeah, it's like, does this mess with my agility? No, but it casts Blink, and that'll be useful.
I think it does
And it
give
ended
you
up-
plus 10 agility.
Nope, I checked it in the seeds. Strength and will.
Okay. Good to know.
I think
Damn
it's Satsuke that does agility.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected then. Were you hoping for scrap like the rest of us?
I don't know what I was hoping. I was hoping for a better forge shop.
What do you mean? There were the Burras there. That was your
There's
only.
Muras. I wanted Stardust rods. I also saw that remembered that I had seen charm rods, but forgot where. So I went to Baron before going back up to the moon because I thought that's where the charm rods were.
Ah, got it. I am. Was there any thought when you were playing around on the moon and running into Mega Sisters and Wyvern and Ant Lion and Dr. Luge and things you generally don't want to see on the moon, D-Lunars, opening up a few random boxes, not just for the monsters, but also for the chance that you could run into a Bahamut orb at tier 6.
If vanilla monster boxes were on, I totally just would have eluded the moon.
Okay.
But I didn't want to mess with Bimmy and Jimmy.
That's what I figured, because the other ones are probably fine. But Bimmy and Jimmy, you had hourglasses.
I had hourglasses. You can't hourglass behemoths.
Yeah, but you're so
problem.
You're fast anchored. Tell can
Well,
even blink up.
I had very little damage, so even if oh yeah, blinking up.
But yeah, no, it's a fair point. I mean, this seed definitely, yeah, no, it had jokes. It was, I think I said to Cubs, it was a jet seed, but a jet seed of like, okay, how are you actually doing this? Right. I mean, because in Cub's case, he found the Leviathan and the Baron triple. We were hoping for the Baron quadruple personally, very early. And so was in go mode pretty much after his D machine grind and saw the Okopoko at Dwarf 1. And so the bosses weren't really hiding. It was more of a, well, you have an edge hero and you have a mage party. Go beat Zeromus. Good luck! But how did you feel about these flags overall?
Oh, the flags seem alright. This isn't the worst hero option on the list.
You were sad that it wasn't Eddie, weren't you?
No, I was happy it wasn't Eddie. I saw Edge and I breathed a sigh of relief. And it's like, this should be fine. I'll get a melee party and I'll berserk. And then I didn't get a melee party and didn't berserk.
I don't even remember seeing Wine anywhere.
Wine was on the hook route.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know if I have any more questions. Joker, do you have any questions for Scarsor?
No, I think he's already answered it all. Yeah, it was a very hard fought battle, and it definitely a struggle towards the end. And it does feel like a lot of this particular seed was just determined by how soon you were able to find the Leviathan.
I suppose, yeah.
Because for Cubs, like finding that Leviathan early meant that he wasn't hunting around for the Leviathan, but also wasn't hunting around for Twin Harp either. Whereas I think you and Softnum were still sort of in searching mode for quite a bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I frankly should have gone straight to Mist Cave when I saw Cubs finish.
We just figured we weren't sure whether or not you had forgotten. Let's just start a petition to make sure that Mist Cave never has a required boss. I'd be up for that.
Well, when we get Free Enterprise onto the Archipelago, we could probably include that in the weights files.
Maybe.
With that, like I said, I don't have any more questions. It sounds like Joker doesn't. So with that,
All right.
I want to say GG's again, man.
Yeah, GG's. Thank you. Thanks for putting on the restream, Aaron Lore, Zal, Yon Cops.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. GG's again.
GG.
So, Joker, it does bring the end of our broadcast. Sofnum, as this is right, declined an interview. Again, GG's to Sofnum as well. But with that, we are going to send you off to our raid target, Leggy Starscream, definitely a friend of the Free Enterprise community, doing Super Lesbian Animal RPG. In addition, I would like to remind you all that we have 2 more restreams this week. We have the Pink Puff League at 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, and we have Mom Spaghetti Club at 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So definitely look forward to that. See our new racers in Pink Puff League. See a whole bunch of scrambling around on Saturday on the Mom Spaghetti Club. It'll be a fun time. From all of us on the booth, Joker, myself, Arlenor, and Zald, I would wish you all a good night, and we'll see you next time.
And just one more quick thank you out again to Oscar4204 and Neobari for their contributions to getting us to 4.6.
Have a good night.